Hello, everyone. Today, we are going to cover some important topics that are frequently used when working with widgets in Flutter and coding in Dart in general, such as using the for loop to create widgets, the spread operator, and the List.generate constructor. We'll break down how all of this works and why these tools are so useful when creating lists of widgets in Flutter. To start, when we work with Flutter, most of the time we build the user interface using widgets. If you need to create multiple similar widgets, for example, several buttons, texts, or images, you'll need to generate these widgets somehow and pass them into the appropriate containers, such as a column, row, or list view. One of the ways to do this is by using a for loop. This is one of the most basic ways to create sequences of objects. We've already covered the for loop in previous lessons, but we haven't yet discussed how to use it to pass widgets. Let's generate 10 texts for a column. Instead of writing them manually, we'll use a for loop. We will directly pass it in the initialization of the list for the children parameter. So far, everything is as usual. We create a variable in the initialization block, then specify a condition. Since we want to create 10 texts, we need the loop to execute 10 times, so we write the appropriate condition. And finally, we add the increment. Next, instead of starting with curly braces, we just begin writing a widget. Admittedly, it looks strange considering that we usually write the loop with curly braces, but for this purpose we need to skip them. Keep in mind that we can write our widget either in a single line or break it across multiple lines, however many we want. But the most important thing is not to forget the comma after writing our widget. This way, it will all be counted as one expression. Another important point, while writing the widget, we have access to the variable from the loop, meaning we can control the indices of the elements. For example, let's display this variable in the text and add one to it. This is necessary since our variable will initially be 0, and we want the elements to start at 1. When we run the code, we see that everything works. You could do the same thing by manually adding the widgets, but the for loop does it for you, saving time and simplifying the code. Now, let's talk about the spread operator. It consists of 3 dots. This is a special syntax introduced in Dart 2.3, and it allows you to expand a collection, like a list, and pass its elements into another list. For example, let's create a list of widgets. Let's say it's a few containers. Now, if we want to pass this list into the children parameter of a column, we can do so directly, like this, without square brackets. But what if we want to add more widgets in addition to this list? To do that, we bring back the square brackets and add the widgets we want to include, separated by commas as usual. Then, at the point where we want to use our list, we use the spread operator. This way, Dart will take all the elements from this list and expand them. After that, we can add some other elements, such as containers. Now, let's move on to another powerful tool, the List.generate factory constructor. This constructor allows you to create a list of a certain length and generate each of its elements according to a specific template. Previously, when we created a list, we used square brackets and passed the elements inside them, but we can also use the generate constructor to create a list. This constructor has 2 parameters. The first parameter is the length of the list. It's a simple int value. Let's set it to 20 for the example. The next parameter is an anonymous function with one parameter representing the specific index, and it should return an object. This function will be called as many times as the length parameter, and each time it will call the method from the second parameter. The index will always increase, starting from the 0 index, then the first, second, and so on. For this example, let's return a container with padding and text inside. Our text will consist of the index plus 1. This way, we will create a list of widgets as described in our method. Now, using the spread operator, let's pass our list into our column. When we run the code, we see that everything works. So, let's summarize. We covered 3 powerful tools for creating widget lists in Dart: the for loop, the spread operator, and List.generate. All of these tools can significantly reduce your code and make it more readable and maintainable. They are especially useful when working with widgets in Flutter, as they allow you to easily generate repeating elements. That's all for today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future lessons. Good luck coding, and see you in the next video.